and then I was scrolling through TeachersConnect. So I'm here to close out this week's vlog with my TeachersConnect check-in. This first question, I haven't typed this response yet, but it just caught my eye because I think my response, I don't know if it's the politically correct response to have to this question, but it's my honest response. So I'm just gonna read this question, give you my honest response, even though I don't know that it's gonna be the right thing to say or popular, but here's the first question. Good morning, here's today's outfit. Today I'm wearing a dress from Old Navy. I bought this sometime last year, I think at the end of the year. I'm wearing them with these gray wedges that you guys saw over the summer from DSW. As far as accessories, I'm just wearing this bracelet that I've had for a while from Tiffany's. This ring right here is, I think, from New York & Company, but it's old. And my silver fossil watch, so that's it. All right, I am in the car on the way to Starbucks to pick up a iced coffee because I made a cold brew using the little contraption that I bought from Bath & Body Works. Not Bath & Body Works, Bed Bath & Beyond over the summer, but it needs 24 hours to brew. So I need to pick up some coffee because I need to be awake for the children. It is about 10 minutes to 7. I think what I'm going to try and do this school year is I do not go to Orange Theory on Mondays and Wednesdays. So I think what I'm going to try and do is not wake up as early as I would if I were going to Orange Theory, but wake up earlier and get there earlier. So I woke up today at 5, and yes, it took me about that long to get myself dressed. I'm just a very slow mover. And then get to work earlier than normal. Normally, if I go to Orange Theory, I get to work right at contract time, which is 7:45. So that's my plan. As far as the weekend, nothing extraordinary happened. I did some work, I worked out, I ran some errands, the usual. As far as meal prepping, I think somebody asked me about that, and then I thought, oh, I never really mentioned how that's going. It's not going. I think I've just come to accept the fact that I'm not a meal prepper, which probably sounds odd because you know that I cook dinner on a regular basis through Blue Apron. And even that has been hit and miss the past couple weeks. But when I would meal prep, it would have to be like over the weekend. And I just find that over the weekend, the last thing I want to do is just meal prep. So far, for lunches, I have been bringing salads that I was buying last year from Bonds, which is the grocery store, one of the grocery stores out here. I'm a little nervous because one of the reasons I stopped doing that is because the quality of the salads were not up to par at some point. Then I thought about increasing my Blue Apron subscription to a family plan, and I don't know if I mentioned this before, but then I decided that wasn't necessarily the best option for me. So right now I'm having salads with yogurt and something along those lines for lunch. And then as far as breakfast is concerned, I don't even have the energy to make those egg cups, and they're super easy to make, but I've just been making like an open-faced egg sandwich, which only takes a few minutes. So, you gotta know your strengths and your weaknesses, and apparently my weaknesses are meal prepping. I just can't seem to bring myself to do it. I don't really have a reason why. Maybe things will change once I get like settled and simmered into the school year. I don't really know what the reason is. I just know that I haven't been doing it. So when I get to work today, my plan today is to get classroom jobs established because I told my kids I'm working way too hard in this classroom doing all the little jobs that students normally do for me, such as answering the phone, turning on and off the lights, things like that. So I need to get jobs assigned. We need to go over the math quiz that they took on Friday. There was some footage that I recorded on Friday where I was explaining how long it took me just to explain to the class how I wanted them to take the quiz and my expectations and breaking down the problems and making sure they understood what the problem was asking them to do. But still, I had quite a few kids that didn't either follow directions or need to rethink some of their answers. So I need to go over the quiz and get jobs assigned, and maybe we'll be able to fit in taking a Wonders assessment together for practice. So I'm gonna get this coffee right now, and then I'm gonna head to work, which is just a couple minutes away. So this will probably be the last time I speak to you for a minute or two. So I'll see you later. Okay, I'm gonna try and do a quick check-in. It's 10:33. I have 2 minutes before the recess bell rings, and this morning I got a couple things accomplished that I really wanted to. I got their seats switched. I do put them in Kagan groups. I have this CD. I will, in the interest of time, I'll try and show it to you later. But basically it's software where you can put in student information in terms of like scores, test scores, and it will create heterogeneous groups for you on the computer that you can kind of switch around and move around. So I like to put my kids in those kinds of groups, and I always group them based on their reading scores. So I got that done. And I got their seats numbered, which is also for Kagan. So there's a seat 1, seat 2, seat 3, seat 4. So we got that done. I got jobs assigned in my class. Everyone in my class has a job. I told them they will probably keep that job for the whole trimester because it just makes my life easier. And so that was done. This morning is one of those mornings where I just left Jenny and Peggy's room to tell them we will probably not be teaching a new math lesson today, only because just assigning jobs and explaining what they were and getting their seats moved took a long time, and now we are going over the quiz. I had taken some footage on Friday that I didn't include in last week's vlog because it would have made the vlog like super long. But basically what I was saying is I spent a ton of time on Friday going over the quiz. I don't know if that's a bell ringing. Going over the quiz and kind of showing them the things they wanted to pay attention to and the directions. And the hope was that would make them do really well in the quiz. But I graded the quiz over the weekend, and there were quite a few kids that missed problems A, because they didn't fully read the question even though we broke it down, or B, didn't follow directions. So we're going over that, and that's taking some time. So that will probably take the place of my new math lesson today, and Peggy and Jenny are in the same boat. Like, they need to go over the quiz. They're realizing they're behind. So we will not get to lesson 1.8 today. So that's where I'm at. They're gonna come back now. I'm gonna read them a story. We're gonna finish up going over the quiz and then try and work on wonders. But that's my Monday as of 10:35. But I will check in with you guys later. Hi guys, 5:32 to be precise here. Today was in fact a minimum day, so you might be asking, why are you still there, LaTanya? And that's a good question, it's valid. But we did have active shooter training after school today, and that lasted until about 3:30. Then I came back to my room and just about cried because there came a point where I felt like I was literally walking in circles whilst shuffling piles of paper around, but never really accomplishing anything. So a lot of time was wasted with that. Then I got my bearings and got my life together, and I at least got the agenda on the board, and I remembered to write the word save so that the cleaning lady would not erase it. I got myself ready for tomorrow for the most part. And I just had like things that I needed to put away because, as you know, I like to leave my classroom relatively clean. So now I'm just getting my stuff ready to go home. I have to work from home, but I'd rather just go home and do it. I need to finish lesson planning, and I'm writing this on this handy to-do list that I bought for my Happy Planner. Finish lesson planning. Hold on, there's something else I need to write. Okay, and when I get my lesson plans done and have some things filled in that I need to finish working on, I'll show you like the beginning stages of how I'm using this with my digital plans, but I'm not quite there yet. And I don't want to show you something if it's not really finished. And so right now I'm packing up to go home. Again, I think I'm here. Well, I know I'm here, but I think the only person left at this point with me is the custodian and the cleaning crew, which is the story of my life. And I don't know what else, I mean, I don't know how to solve that problem right now. I think, like I told some of you on last week's vlog through the comments, I just have to accept that that's just the way it is for me. Like, I typically am going to be the last one because I get here right at 7:45, but I do think I spend a lot of time like processing information and getting things ready for the next day. Not to say that other teachers don't, but I think I just move slower in that process, and that's okay. That's just gonna have to be okay. In the end, it keeps me sane, and I think it's good for the kids. So today, one of the other reasons why I felt like I wanted to cry is because everything is just taking so much longer than what I needed to take, and I just feel like every day I just get a little bit more behind of where mentally I want it to be. So we didn't even get to the Wonders assessment aside from reading the second passage, and that is something I'm just really not willing to skip because I want to do that with the class. So that has to happen. We didn't get to the math lesson, which is fine because I had to review the quiz, and I haven't started social studies, which I wanted to do this week, which I think I will. So I don't know. I think I'm just having the hardest time this year just keeping perspective of where we are in the school year. I think I'm still living in the haze of what my class was like at the end of the year and how well trained they were, and I just totally forgot how much time and energy and effort it took me to get them to that point. And I think in my mind I want my class that I have right now to be like my class at the end of the year, but my class last year it was not like this at the beginning of the year, and I have to remember that, and I have to be patient and tell myself it's gonna be fine, right guys? It's gonna be fine. It's gonna be totally fine. So yeah, I'm getting ready to pack up and go home. There's a stack of papers that I had that I can't find, and let's hope that shows up somewhere. I don't know what else to say, so I'm looking for that. I'm about to get a piece of chocolate. I am now rambling, so I'm gonna put my shoes back on because currently I have on flip-flops. I'm gonna go home and then I'm gonna get to work. I will say this, and I did wanted to mention, I mean, we had an active shooter training at the end of the day, and it's just so sad to say that that's like the state of where we are in education, that now it's not just fire drills and earthquake drills, which, you know, are natural disasters. Now we have to be prepared for that kind of violence on campus. And I know the odds of it are minimal, and that was one of the points they made at this training, is that, you know, you have a better chance of being attacked by a shark than you do being in a situation where you have an active shooter. But nonetheless, like, it could happen, and it's just sad. It's just unfortunate that school is not necessarily a place where you can just assume that everything is safe. So it was definitely a downer. We got some good information. We talked about lockdowns. I don't know about you guys, but for us and for me, when I've had lockdown drills, a lot of times we'll focus on teaching the kids where to go, safe places to hide, which is all well and good. But one of the points that I got from it was that we also need to train kids early how to barricade doors. And that's sad. So like when I have the next lockdown, I will probably talk about, okay guys, if we found ourselves in a situation where it was unsafe and someone was on campus with a gun, we really want to do anything that we can to prevent them from coming inside. So we need to barricade the doors and just start talking about some things that we can quickly move to make it so that it's harder for them to get in. The reason I'm stopping is because I'm also realizing our doors open out and not in. So I guess a barricade would still work, but I think it just wouldn't be as effective because it's not like the person's pushing in the door. All they have to do is open it up, but it's just sad. So that's what the training was about. So I need to get home. I actually have to stop at Target because I forgot to get some potty pads for my little doggy. So I have to stop and do that, and then I need to get to work because I have to go to bed early because I have Orange Theory tomorrow. So that was my Monday. I didn't get nowhere near as much accomplished as I wanted to. I got some things done, but not everything, and I don't know. So I will talk to you guys tomorrow. Hope you had a great Monday. Oh, I wanted to add a little positivity because I feel like I was sad just now and stressed. But I got this in my mailbox. This is from a grandmother of a student that I had last year, and her dad was super sweet, super supportive. If I said I needed anything for the classroom, her dad was like the first one to donate more than what I needed. And then the grandma wanted to be involved, so she came in a couple times a week to work with some students who were struggling readers. And so she sent me this card, and it says, "Dear Miss Robinson," I'm not gonna say the little girl's name, but my granddaughter was in your 3rd grade class last year. She shared with me her CASP scores. I'm so proud of her achievement. This is directly related to your classroom instruction and expectations of student work. I am very grateful for your dedication to your students and dedication to the teaching profession with sincere appreciation. These are the best for me. This one really touches me for a lot of reasons, because if you guys watched my video on becoming a better teacher, one of the questions was, what are you insecure about? And one of my biggest insecurities is how parents and families perceive me, because I do think by nature, I'm a little bit more, I don't know, just like I'm not as overly, or I'm not as emotive, or whatever the word is for teachers that typically teach primary grades kinder, first, second, and third. I never really worried about it in fifth, because it's kind of the expectation that you'll be a little bit more like, I don't know, serious as a fifth grade teacher, but not so much expected as a third grade teacher. So I'm always a little self-conscious about what the perception is people have of me. And I just appreciate this card because she's attributing my style of teaching and my demeanor to the success of her granddaughter in third grade. And she's a super sweet lady, and I think there was a part of her in the beginning where she wasn't quite sure. She felt like the rigor was too much for her granddaughter, and she was very nice about it. And we talked about the fact that some of the rigor is simply due to the standards, but you could tell she was a little concerned because it's a lot tougher than most people know. So it just really means a lot to me that she took the time to send this card and took the time to tell me that she appreciated my approach to teaching and saw that I do feel like I try and dedicate myself to being the best teacher I can be. So this will go in this little envelope here. I don't know if you guys can see it, but it's this little gold envelope that I got from Target, and I put all my cards in there from students and families, but this will be one that I save forever. So if this grandmother happens to be watching, which I highly doubt, thank you so much, but I will definitely find the student tomorrow and give a thank you card so that she can pass it on to her grandmother. So there was that. In spite of me feeling like a complete and utter train wreck, like I'm running around in circles, like I have no idea what's happening, I have to remember that in the end, it'll be fine. You'll get the job done. So now I am really going home. I will talk to you guys tomorrow. Good morning. Here's today's outfit. Today I'm wearing this top from Old Navy that I bought at the end of last school year. Some white jeans from TJ Maxx. These are my other granny shoes that I decided to keep. We're trying them out today. And then as far as accessories, I'm wearing this gold necklace from Kate Spade that has a G for Genesis. A gold Michael Kors watch. I have on some gold bracelets that are probably from Charming Charlie or something. And I'm wearing my brown glasses today. So, talk to you guys later. Okay. All right, it's recess time. I'm going to check in because I'm going to try and be really diligent about just kind of sharing what I'm doing with Wonders. This kind of doesn't count because we are wrapping up the first theme, or not unit, the first like learning block. I'm just gonna start calling it theme because learning block is just too much for me to be saying at once. But the first theme, so this one was a little unordinary. Like this is not how I would normally do it. But one of the things I did wanna mention is what we're doing right now is we are going through the weekly assessment with the class. Just to kind of show them and get them acclimated to what the tests look like. Just the format alone of these tests is something new for a lot of these kids. So they just kind of need to be taught what it looks like, how to navigate through it, how to go from one page to the next, how to read the directions, what the directions mean. If it says read these lines from the passage, they need to be taught that the lines are actually right underneath the question and that they're not searching for the lines in the passage that just happened. Like I projected a question that said something along those lines that said something like read the following sentences from the passages. So I asked the student to come up and show us what are the sentences they want us to read. And sure enough, instead of looking at the sentences they had provided for the student to read, she was just aimlessly searching for sentences in the passage. So just teaching them how to navigate these tests. What does it mean when it says the question has two parts? How to drag things, how to, go back and forth. And just to teach them like the rigor of these tests. So I was talking to Liza last night, and she was asking me some of the things that I did with my class last year with Wonders, because I had some pretty strong language arts scores. And I told her I really didn't do anything extraordinary, but I did commit myself to saying, okay, I'm gonna really try and work on pulling small groups like the program suggests. But one of the things I think I did was I explicitly would tell the kids, this is your comprehension skill, this is your vocabulary skill, so that they were actively aware of what they needed to prove that they had learned. So as we're going through this test together, for each question, I am asking them, right now, are they asking you to prove that you've learned the comprehension skill, or are they asking you to prove that you've learned the vocabulary skill? And just making sure they can decipher between the two. So we're doing it as a class. I'm projecting it on the screen. They're simultaneously answering it on their Chromebooks. I will be giving them credit for this just to kind of give them some cushion with their reading grade. I'm offering table points, like I'm asking or reading one of the questions they're discussing as a group. When they answer, they have to give me the right answer and provide some text evidence as to why they feel that is the answer. And if they can do that, then they get a table point. So other than that, this morning, we started the morning with our Fox time, which is our universal access. My aide is leveling a few students that are kind of on the borderline of one level versus the other. I am working on setting goals with my students. It's a challenge. Right now, I'm working with the group that is on the lower end of performance, and it's phonics based. And that is really my weakness. If a student is struggling with phonics, I have to really research what are some goals that they need to set. And with those kids, I really think instead of them just generating a goal because they really don't know what to do, you almost have to tell them, this is what I would like for our goal to be. So as far as how I feel about how that's going, I'm not sure yet. But I did do that. And so when they get back, we are going to finish answering the questions, at least for part 1. Then we're probably gonna need to pause because I will have to start math at about 10:50 because Mrs. Robinson, my aide for RSP, will be coming in at that time. So overall, I feel much better today. It's starting to feel like, okay, I'm getting a rhythm. And I think it's just because I'm telling myself perpetually to just be patient, to calm down. It's okay if something takes a little bit longer. You have to teach them how to do these things and everything will be fine. So I'm doing a lot of positive self-talk right now. But that's how things are going so far. I need to eat my snack and get myself ready for math. And I don't know. Sorry. And I will talk to you guys later. Look, guys, what time is it? 5:20. It's almost 5:30. Oh I'm not the last person here. Peggy's still here working hard. There's Jenny. Yeah. I'm not sure what the three of us are doing. But we're all working.
We all know what we're doing.
I mean, we know what we're doing, but I'm just glad I'm not the last person here. Jenny, what are you working on?
I'm printing stuff and deciding on this cursive if I really like it. I'm not very productive. This is, I think, why. Does anyone have this happen where you just sit at your desk and you know you have a bunch of things to do, but you're mentally...
Like you can't focus on what you need to do, so you can't even really do it?
Ladies, this is why I go home. Because I focus better at home.
Yeah.
I focus better at home than in here.
But then
I find myself going, squirrel.
No, I go home and then I have a dog. And then there's TV I start watching. Then I start calling people on the phone. So yesterday I had that moment. I was in my room. I don't know what I was doing in there. I was just shifting papers around, walking in circles. I'm in my room right now and I know exactly what I'm doing. I had a list. I entered in some grades. And I don't even really have anything to say besides, look, I'm not by myself in the iPod. No. There's Jenny. There's Peggy. Jenny is going through this emotional turmoil about cursive writing. She's looking for the perfect
progressive
cursive set And she's been looking for days.
And what'd we
Days.
tell her? What'd you tell her, LaTanya?
I said, we have bigger fish to fry.
Bigger fish.
So as long
Yeah.
as they practice, but you know what? She's gonna find the right one and we're gonna appreciate it. And the kids they will have the most beautiful
penmanship.
penmanship.
Yes.
Then all the kids of the world will be jealous.
Yes.
I don't know when I'm going home. I don't think it's gonna be too long from now, but I'm not by myself.
It'll be interesting when we go out to the
Parking lot to
That's
see.
always a gauge of, oh, so-and-so is here.
There's a couple cars that are always here later.
Yes.
And then when I go outside and even that car is gone, then I get really mad.
Right. You've gone too far.
I've gone too far. So I'm gonna go to my room and get it ready for tomorrow. We have picture day tomorrow and PE, so you know the kids aren't gonna learn tomorrow. I'm just kidding. But yeah, so I just want to show you Jenny. I will show you the library when Brendan's not in it with one barefoot and one socked foot.
It's all good.
So I'll talk to you guys. Good morning, here's today's outfit. Today I am wearing this top from Nordstrom Rack is where I got it from. The pants are the pants from Kohl's that I shared over the summer during a summer haul. And then I'm wearing these flats that I got last year from DSW. I just had quite the debate as to what shoes I was gonna wear, but I ended up with those. I'm wearing this necklace that I got on clearance from Charming Charlie over the summer, and it came with a set of matching earrings. I don't know how good of a job I'm doing showing them to you, but they're there. And then this black Marc Jacobs watch. So that's it. It's picture day today, so this is what I chose to wear, and I will talk to you guys later. It is 12:01. It is lunchtime, and the simple fact that I'm even in my room at lunch, it should indicate to you that I'm not having the best of days. Like, had I known that today would go the way that it's going, I may have just called in sick. It has been hectic. It is picture day. We have PE, and those are not super disruptive, but it's just the timing of when those two things have happened, on top of having Fox time, which is our universal access time or small group time, if you're not sure what that is, has created a day where I can't get anything really up and running. And I know it's not just me, like my teammates are feeling like a little frazzled, and some of my friends at another grade level feel like I do right now, which is that it's lunchtime and I have literally not taught my kids anything solid yet. I've started a lot of things, but not gotten anything done. So I have started a math lesson and shown them one strategy, but that's it. And it's so frustrating. I'm almost at the point where I'm now contemplating whether or not I even want to teach this math lesson. I will, because we started it, but it's just frustrating. Like, I came in early, it was nice and calm. I was like, okay, I'm gonna get some things done, which I did. I have PE. I just was prepared for somewhat of a much smoother day or calmer day, and it has been hectic. Like, just, I've had technical issues with my computer, technical issues with the kids signing on to Spelling City. My class is just kind of out of sorts today, not following directions, not really listening. So that's made everything take 25,000 times longer. So it's just been a rough day, and I have a staff meeting after school. So I decided during my prep, I told Janie that I was gonna be eating lunch in here, just cause I feel like I need a minute. I just need like some quiet time to myself, just to get my bearings. So that's how Wednesday's going. Not my favorite day at the moment. I mean, on the upside, the kids look great for pictures, but I hate that feeling of like time is just slipping away, and on a regular basis our time is already short with the amount of stuff that we need to teach. So I'm gonna eat my lunch and then just relax for a minute. I might run up to the office to make some copies because I did end up buying binders for my number of the day package that I showed you guys before. I am going to do writing with my class, and once that's keeping in mind that math happens. And once I get those papers up, I'll put those up so that you guys can kind of see what I do, because that is a part of what I did with Wonders last year to prepare them for their weekly assessment. So I will share that, but I need a nap or something. Like, I just need like a good yoga class or something to just kind of take myself down. It is comforting to know that there's other teachers on campus feeling like this day has just been crazy like that. So I'm gonna eat my salad because that's what I have for lunch, in case you'd like to know, since you know, why not? Today for lunch I have this salad. These come from the grocery store. Is it upside down? No, I don't think so. Oh yes it was. A tomato and mozzarella salad that I will be eating, and then I have yogurt, lime. I really like the Chobani lime Greek yogurt. I put fruit in it, but there's a big piece of mango in here, so it probably won't fit, but I'll probably put the strawberries and the blueberries in there. And I was supposed to eat this as a snack, but I didn't. My cheese, just a stick of pepper jack, and then I have some almonds down in here somewhere. That's also a snack. So in case you were wondering what's in my lunch bag today, that's what it was, this lunch bag that everybody was asking me about. So I'm gonna do that. I'm gonna work on calming down, and I'm sure I will check in with you before the day is over. So I'll talk to you then. It's 6:15. I'm still here. I'm getting ready to go home. Let's talk about today. Today was one of those days in teaching where my frustration level with myself as a teacher, with like just what was going on in my classroom, with the schedule, was like at an all-time high, to the point where on multiple occasions I was like, I just need to cry about this. I didn't. I held it together. All in all, I think it was just one of those days where there were so many things going on with pictures and PE being changed, and just the unstructuredness, that's not a word I know, of that, and then me being frustrated and that making my patience short, that just created a day that I didn't love. It did get to the point, because I can't explain it away all on just it being picture day and PE. It did get to a point where I had to have a little quick meeting with my class. This year I have the most unbalanced class that I've ever had in terms of gender. I have 18 boys and 6 girls, which I've never had any kind of heavy weight on any side of the gender scale ever before. And it's different, because boys a lot of times tend to be more active and require a lot more immediate like response to what they're doing. So I have a couple of boys that are really active, some boys that are just like the jokesters and want to just play around and joke around all the time, and they don't really know that there's a time and a place for that. And so today, in the past couple of days, you know, they just have really been doing a little too much for my liking. So I did have a whole class meeting where I didn't call anyone out in specific. I said, but what our biggest challenge right now with this class is that we have a lot of kids in here that really enjoy being the funny kid or want to be funny and get that attention, or there's also kids who aren't necessarily trying to be the funny kid, but they certainly are laughing and responding and reacting to what the funny kid is doing, and that's just as disruptive. And so, and I said, and we need to work on that. And so I taught them the whole phrase, there's a time and a place, and just taught them, if you see me up there or somewhere and I'm joking around and I'm laughing around, then that's the time and that's the place. But if you don't see me doing that, that's a very big indication that it's neither the time nor the place. So we talked about that, and when I have conversations like this with my class, I really do balance it with the positive. So I did tell them, I said, now when teachers start a new school year, the first question people always want to ask them is, how is your class? And so I said, people have asked me that question, excuse me, and I've always answered it that my class is super sweet. So it's not that I think that you guys are a group of bad kids or you're misbehaved. I really do think that you're super sweet, but you guys got to learn that there is a time and a place to joke around, and that's what is getting us off track. So I literally feel like my kids did very minimal learning today. I taught a math lesson, but in retrospect, I probably shouldn't have, because by the time I taught it, it was after lunch. We had already had a lot of dishevelment throughout the day, and it was a more challenging math lesson, just teaching them mental math strategies that are a little abstract for some of them. But I did it because I wanted to feel like I accomplished something. So the stuff that I wanted to show you for writing, I think I talked about that earlier. I can't even show it to you because we didn't do anything with it. We got their little notebook set up that I bought from the Dollar Tree. My mom ended up coming in and helping me get their resource binders set up, and I'll show you those when they get all put together. But that was really it. I didn't even get to read to them today. I was supposed to read them a book about being the tooth fairy. Didn't get to that, and they definitely noticed. So one of my weaknesses as a human being and as a person, and this is gonna sound like obnoxious when I say it now that I think about it, but I'm not really good about like just cutting myself some slack and just kind of being realistic about what my expectations should be. So I fully expect right now I should be in a smooth routine, and I know I've said this in every vlog, but this is really my struggle right now. Like, smooth routine, not even so much with my class. Like, I get that they're learning the procedures. It is just, I just finished talking to Liza. It's just that it's so exhausting teaching them the routines and all that in the beginning of the year, because you don't really have any downtime. Like, every move they make, you're teaching them how to make that move, you're redirecting them because they didn't do it correctly, you're reminding them. It's constant, so you don't really get a lot of time to sit down and just kind of have a minute or two. But it's more so just me being able to get home earlier than 6 o'clock, getting dinner cooked and having a meal that I prepared, and sitting down and just feeling like I have a good mix in the evening of like doing some things for myself and then doing some things for work. And I have not felt that way yet, and this is rounding out the 3rd week of school. So when I say that to someone, like I've talked to Jenny and Liza, they're both like, LaTanya, you really need to just kind of relax. It's okay that you're not cooking dinner every day and that you've had takeout each night. That's fine. This is just kind of the nature of the beginning of the year. My mom just told me that because she was here and she saw me just being like so flustered by things. So I need to just be a little bit more realistic, cut myself some slack, just take a deep breath. It's gonna be fine. I'm sorry this is so repetitive of what I said last week, but I mean, this is just the reality of where I'm at. I'm still in that mode of like I just want to get things going. So that was my day to day. But what is nice, what did happen to me today is after I checked in with you at lunch, where I was initially telling you how flustered and frustrated I was in my classroom. And I looked up because someone was knocking at the door, and it was one of my students from last year. And so I was a little baffled as to like why he was even here knocking on my door, because it was just an odd time for him to be doing that. So I got up and I went to the door, and he's like, oh, I just wanted to come and say hi to you. And I just really, it just made me smile, and it was just so sweet. It was like what I just needed at that moment, to know that I just need to relax. It's gonna be fine. So I never eat lunch in my room, but today I did, and then a student came by and like brightened my day. So I'm gonna leave. It's 6:18. I feel like there was something else I wanted to show you today. Oh, I know what it is. I have figured out a teacher hack that I'm gonna share with you. So let me get this paper really quick, hold on. Okay, so after school I was making class sets of all these masters for number of the day because these are gonna go in their resource binder. And I'm sure you guys all know on the Duplo machines, which are those heavy duty copy machines, anything that has like a lot of black on it, usually, at least for us, will cause the machine to jam. Like it'll make 1 or 2 copies and then tell you there's a paper jam on the ejection side. And so I had even done this and lightened the machine so that these wouldn't be quite as dark, and it was still jamming it. And then I remembered last year, because I had not these but a different paper that had a lot of black on it, and that's when the secretary told me that's what's causing the masters or something to jam. Then I thought, well, I wonder if I can just minimize the amount of black that the machine is picking up by sticking the paper in a sheet protector and then copying it. And sure enough, that worked. So if you ever have a copy that you need to make and it's jamming the heavy duty machines, I don't know if they're called Duplos, that's just what we call them where I'm from. If you have that problem with the page like this would jam it for sure, just because these black bars are here. Stick this in a sheet protector, put the sheet protector with this in it on the glass to be copied. Obviously not in the top feeder where it like feeds it in and rolls it out, but where you open the lid of the machine and you lay it down, and it will copy just fine, and you won't even know that it was in a sheet protector when you made the master. So that is teacher tip 101, courtesy of LaTanya. Save yourself some frustration with that copy machine jamming by simply putting these types of papers in a sheet protector and going on your merry way. So with that, I'm gonna go get some frozen yogurt because it's Wednesday and I can get it for $5 and load it up. And then I'm gonna pick up something for dinner, and I'm not gonna feel guilty about it because that is life. And I might even DoorDash it because now I don't even wanna go get it. I just want it to show up at my house. And that's it. That's just what my life is gonna be this evening, and it's fine. So I'm done talking for the day. You guys pray for me. I will have a better day tomorrow. I know that it can't get any more flustering, or I don't know if that's a word either. Can't get any more frustrating or stress-inducing as it was today. So, talk to you guys tomorrow. Good morning. Here's my outfit. Today, the bottom line is I just wanted to be comfortable after a stressful day yesterday. So I am wearing jeans. I'm just wearing a white top from Old Navy. I'm wearing my white Birkenstocks, and then just to make it look like I put a little bit more effort, I put on this necklace that I got. I don't remember where I got this from, but I got it over the summer. This is a Goriana bracelet from Nordstrom. This is a watch that I got over the summer from Nordstrom, and that is it. So I will talk to you guys later. Well, good evening. It's actually 5 o'clock on Thursday. Last time we spoke, sorry for the sunlight, I'm pretty sure I was just showing you my outfit of the day. I haven't checked in at all since then. I meant to check in at recess because my mom was in my classroom helping me prep something, but then one of my parents from last year, who has since become a friend, came by and we chatted during recess, so I didn't get to show you. But I am happy to report that I had a much better day today. I think me having that talk with my class yesterday really did help because I could tell that they were really making an effort. And I obviously went in saying, like, we cannot have another day like we did yesterday. And of course the day was a lot more normal than yesterday with picture day and PE and all that craziness. But we had a much better day. It started to feel like I was figuring out my schedule for the day because that was part of the problem. And I have accepted the reality that my schedule is not necessarily exactly the way that I would like it to be, and I have to just deal with that. So basically, what that means is I have to accept the fact that first thing in the morning is going to be Fox time / universal access. Like attendance and all that happens quickly. The aide is going to come at 8:30, and I may or may not be exactly ready at that time, but I will be soon after. So there's that. Right after UA, It's gonna be 9:30, and I'm gonna do wonders, which I normally would do in the afternoon, but we're just gonna do wonders at that time because I have to do math later because of the RSP schedule. So we will start wonders at about 9:30. 10:20, we will go to recess to 10:35. 10:35 to about a quarter of 11, I will read the book that I read for the day. We'll discuss that really quickly. And between 10:45 and 11, we're starting math. Math will run until about 11:50 because that's when we have lunch. And after lunch, we will wrap up math. Then after we wrap up math, we'll have to go back to wonders and wrap that up because I just know that we won't be finished with wonders by the time recess comes, because I just know that. And then after wonders is when I'm gonna hope and pray that I can squeeze in social studies and science, one or the other. I don't do both at the same time because I can't. So that is kind of how the day went today, and once I just came to terms with that, I felt a little bit better, and knowing that in some ways my days are kind of chopped together like that, and the kids were better. We got through writing. I introduced writing and the expectations for writing in my class. I used Step Up to Writing, so I wanted to show you guys what I use to kind of introduce like the writing expectations that I try and put forth in my class, but I just didn't get a chance to do that, so I will put that on my list of things to share tomorrow. So we even got that done, and it went good. I feel like the kids are really starting to get to the point where they understand my expectation level and that I'm serious about it, and that, you know, how I want them to conduct themselves in class and all of that. But again, even though we had a rough day yesterday, I have to say it is a really sweet class. Even though it is heavily skewed with 18 boys and 6 girls, it's just a little bit more challenging to keep them under control, for lack of a better term. So I'm telling you all this from my car because after school, I got a very angry phone call from Liza because we have been talking about going to see Crazy Rich Asians since last week, and I think we were actually supposed to go last week, but it didn't work out. And then we were gonna go on Friday because typically Liza's a little bit more free in the evenings because her husband, I think, is off on Fridays or works from home on Fridays, but he couldn't do tomorrow. So we had talked about going today, and when we talked about it though, I didn't feel like it was really set in stone. And then after school, she called me at about 4:30 or so and was mad that I didn't get in touch with her to let her know if we were going to the movies or not. And I said, well, I was waiting for you to call because you're the one with the kids and the husband and the schedules and this and that. So she tried to tell me that all I do is take in our friendship, and our friendship is a one-way street, and we both know that's not the case. So anyway, I got my agenda up on the board and I left. So I'm headed to Red Robin to meet her for dinner. And then after that, we're gonna go see Crazy Rich Asians, and I will be sure to let you know how it is. I'm sure I'm gonna love it because everybody else is. And I read the book. The book was fun and lighthearted, so I'm sure the movie will be the same. So that is my check-in for the day. I will try and check in with you when I get home and let you know how the movie was. And if I don't do it tonight when I get home, I'll definitely do it tomorrow. So I'm gonna focus on my driving, and I'll see you later. Good morning, here's today's outfit. It's Friday, so I'm wearing another one of my shirts from Teacher Tees. This is the last one that I have. This one says Teach and Inspire. I'm wearing them with these jeans that I bought from Nordstrom Rack over the summer. And these sandals that are from Nordstrom that I've had for over a year that are choosing not to focus. There they go. And then I am wearing a silver fossil watch and some Alex and Annie bracelets. So that's it. Happy Friday, everybody. Hello, it is 9:30ish. The kids just went out for PE. They will be there until 10:20, and then they go straight to recess, which works out quite nicely for us in 3rd grade. So I'm just checking in. Last night, got home at about 10ish from the movies with Liza. Crazy Rich Asians was very funny, very entertaining. I highly suggest it if you just want to have a good laugh and a good time. And then went to bed, went to Orange Theory, got dressed, here I am. So I'm just gonna show you what my plan is for today. I am not gonna teach a math lesson today because I really need to get this writing done so that we can move to the next theme with wonders, and that I can feel like we at least got through, a practice round of writing. So we're going to be using the passages from the First Wonders assessment, but we're going to be writing this together on paper, and then everybody just gets credit for doing it. So the first step that I did, let me see if I can show you a student's paper. So I use Step Up to Writing, which is a great program. There's a whole lot to it, but the reality is I only have time to do so much. So the first thing I taught my kids yesterday, I can't remember if I showed it to you, was I used this resource from Step Up to Writing. That just shows them there's 3 different types of writing. There's informative, explanatory, opinion writing, and narrative. And then it gives them the structure of each type. So I had them get their 3 crayons out because these are the 3 colors in Step Up. And I had them box the topics in square green, so they know the topic sentence is always green. Underline key star ideas, big ideas in yellow because that's where they'll use their transitional words or transitional sentences. Underline facts and details in red because that's how they're color-coded, and then their closing sentence in green because those are always green. So we talked about that first, that there's 3 different types, and I explained what each type is. Here you're giving information, giving your opinion, and then telling a story. And then we talked about prompt, and I explained that a prompt is just a fancy word for, or a fancy saying to ask the kids, what are you writing about? And then we did this activity that is from Step Up to Writing called Tap the Prompt, where they break it down. The T stands for what's the topic, the A stands for what's the audience, and P stands for what is the purpose. So they had 3 very small prompts that they had to discuss with their group. What's the topic of the prompt, who's the audience, what's the purpose. And so we did the first 2 together. So for example, this one says, describe the United States flag to someone from another country. Explain why our flag is red, white, and blue. So they knew the topic was the United States flag. The audience was a person from another country, and the purpose was to give information. So we practiced with a couple of those. And then the third one that's on that sheet, they did independently as a group, and then I gave them table points if they were able to identify it. So I told them, when you're writing in this class, that is step 1. When you're given a prompt, you need to tap the prompt to make sure you are staying on topic, that you know who you're writing it for so that you use proper language. And I said in this class, most of the time the audience is going to be me, your teacher, so it should be very formal writing. And then what's the purpose? Are you going to be giving some information or explaining? Are you being asked to give your opinion, or are you going to tell a story? So then we went over the prompt that we're going to be writing together from the Wonders assessment, and then we tapped that prompt. So this says, how are Nina and Jaden alike at the beginning of the passages? How are they alike at the end? Use text evidence to support your answer. So this is the actual prompt from the first assessment. I think I added the words or the sentence, use text evidence to support your answer, because I want them to know they have to do that. But we said the topic was how Nina and Jaden are alike at the beginning and the end. The audience is me, Miss Robinson, so I'm reminding them that it needs to be formal in nature. And then the purpose is to give information. The purpose was hard for them. Some of them thought they were going to tell a story. And I think they think that just because we're using 2 stories. And so for the kids that said that, I said, where in the prompt does it say, write a story about? And then some other kids thought we were giving our opinion. And I said, it's only opinion if it specifically says, give your opinion, or uses the word like convince. So we finally got to the point where we realized we're just giving information about these 2 passages. We are not going to give our opinion about the story. We're not going to tell a story about the story. So that's as far as we got yesterday. Today, the plan is this here, is we're going to take notes on those 2 passages. We're going to talk about how the character in the new school, what was he like in the beginning, what was he like in the end. We're going to do the same for the character in the story or the passage singing out, and then we're going to find some commonalities between the 2. If I had to do this all over again, I would probably have made this a T-chart, but I didn't. So we're going to do that. And then the next step would be to start planning our paragraph. I don't know how far we're gonna get today, but that's my focus for the day, is to get a good portion of writing done, and then a little art project later. So as I set you down, that's where I'm at in teaching. I'm not gonna spend too much time talking now because I'm on my prep and I have some things I wanna get done. But yeah, that's Friday so far. Feeling better. feeling like maybe I'm getting to where I want to be in terms of how I feel about the flow of my day. So when something exciting happens, I'm sure I'll check in with you guys. But until then, I will talk to you later. Okay, Friday's over. It is about 3:40 and I'm getting ready to leave to join some friends for happy hour. You should be proud. I feel pretty good because I'm planned for next week. For the most part, there's a couple things I need to pencil in for my small groups with Wonders, and I can do that very easily. I feel like I can go home over the weekend, do very minimal work, and still be fine when I come in on Monday. So I'm very close to that goal that I'm gonna set for myself this year of just taking care of what I need to take care of on Friday so that I feel comfortable and confident enough to leave without any work. Like, my goal is to just leave with the purse, but I know this is the beginning of the year, so I may not be at that point yet, but I'm getting very close to that. But before I left, I wanted to show you guys the progress we made with the writing since I, you know, said I would, and so that you guys can see the steps that I've been taking with my class with writing. I did this with my class last year, and I really felt like they got better in the process. So today, as I said, we got to this point yesterday where we read the prompt, tapped the prompt. What I do know is that the kids really need to learn what the word prompt is. They still think when I say prompt, they think the prompt is the story. So we're gonna work on that. But we took notes. We finished the notes from the 2 passages. My bad, I should have made this chart better. I should have had it as a T chart, and I really should have had beginning and end, but we made do. So these are all the things that they said the student or the character in the passage New Kid in School felt at the beginning. If there's a check mark by it, multiple groups said the same thing. And then this is how we said that the character felt at the end. And then we did the same thing with the second passage, singing out beginning, and check marks represent groups said the same thing. As we did that, one of the things I added to it, and which I will continue to do in the future, is I made them mark on the passage where their text evidence was. And I think I mentioned that earlier, but not only did I have them highlight it, because then I thought they may highlight it, and then when the time comes to write, they may not even remember what they were highlighting it for. So I made them write next to it. I would use text evidence, or I would use this piece of text evidence to prove that the character was feeling shy at the beginning, or to prove that at the end of the passage the character was feeling happy and confident. So I just thought to do that at the very last minute, and it seemed to work well. So I'm gonna wrap up my classroom blogging here, but I know I will check in with you later because I need to share some of the posts that I responded to on TeachersConnect this week. So I will do that sometime this evening when I get home, but I'm gonna go relax for a little bit with my friends for happy hour. I feel much better at the end of this week than I did last week, so I'm happy that progress is being made, and some of the reason that progress is being made is because I'm having to just be more patient than what I think I was. So I'm gonna head out. I'll talk to you guys when I get back from my happy hour. Hello, it is now 8:30. I'm obviously home. I've been home for probably about an hour and a half. I went outside and was talking to my neighbor for a while, and then I was scrolling through TeachersConnect. So I'm here to close out this week's vlog with my TeachersConnect check-in. This first question, I haven't typed this response yet, but it just caught my eye because I think my response, I don't know if it's the politically correct response to have to this question, but it's my honest response. So I'm just gonna read this question, give you my honest response, even though I don't know that it's gonna be the right thing to say or popular, but here's the first question. It says, this was posted by someone named Catherine, and it says, thinking ahead, what are your go-to quick assessments? When you give tests, do you differentiate? I've read that differentiating tests can actually help students do well on standardized tests because they are more confident in what they have learned over the year. Do you agree with this? Now, I agree with the idea that having a test differentiated for your students to have the opportunity to show their ability does increase their confidence, which then may in turn lead to better performance on standardized tests. But the part of my response that I think may not be the politically correct response, or maybe a little controversial, is that I think it's totally unrealistic, at least for me, to be able to differentiate a test for, in this case this year, 24 different students in my class, in the way that most people talk about differentiation, where they may be taking a completely different version of a test than someone else. And I know that there are programs that have differentiated tests, like Wonders, for example, has a weekly assessment that is meant for your on grade level student or your beyond even, and then they have an approaching test, which is kind of a scaled down version of that. But those don't always address the situation. I would say in my experience, the most modifying of tests I've done have been for kids who are either in RSP and get modifications and accommodations, or on a 504 plan, like a behavior support plan. And typically what it's been in terms of differentiation is it may be differentiated based on length, like maybe it's been shortened. It may be differentiated based on the idea that I have maybe for them set up some of the problems for them or provided them a little bit more support than I would the other student. So for me, when it comes to differentiating for every student, I do believe that you can also think of assisting kids in different ways with the same test as differentiation. I'm not sure if that's proper to say, but I think it's more realistic for me. Now, I know there's teachers out there that are able to do this and differentiate for all their kids, and I don't know how they do it, and kudos to them. But for me, if I have a student that is taking the test that everyone else is taking, but I know they're a little bit more challenged with, let's say, math, then my differentiation for them might be reading the problem to them, guiding them through setting up the problem, but still making them feel like I'm not telling you how to set up the problem. I'm just talking you through it and you're telling me that. I've done that for students over the years. I've had some students where I've just told them you're only going to do these problems. I've read word problems to them, and I'm talking about math because that's typically where I do most of it. Or I've had students where they complete the test and I'll correct it on the spot and give them the opportunity to go fix it. So that's how I've done it. And I think that's the only reason I've done it is because it's just more feasible for me to do it. I've never done it any other way because I just haven't been able to find the time or the resources to do that. So I think in a perfect world, yes, every student would have a test that is specifically designed for them to be able to shine in the best way possible, but it's just not the reality. And then the fact of the matter is their standardized test isn't going to be differentiated, so you don't want to differentiate too much to the point where they're not exposed to the rigor of the test that they're going to be expected to take anyway. So that was my response to Catherine. Another question I answered is from Shantae. She wanted some ideas for book baggies for first graders, and I think basically she's not a big fan of using their Ziploc bags. And so even though I've never taught first grade, I know my friends at my previous school would buy little inexpensive looking canvas bags for their first graders, and they would decorate them by writing their names on it and then put like a little die cut situation on it. And I want to say that they got those from Oriental Trading, so I offered her that tip, even though I've never used it before, but they've been doing that for years and they seem to like it. Another person I responded to was named Brielle, just because she hit right on the spot as far as what I've been feeling at the beginning of the school year. She said, how do you get back into the swing of things when school starts? I already feel like I'm drowning. Ha ha ha, and I know I'm just adjusting to working again. Any thoughts? Basically what I've said to you guys through the vlog is I told her, for me, I've had to do a lot of positive self-talk and just dealing with the frustration of my workflow not being in place both at school and at home. But on those days where I just tell myself you need to relax, you need to give yourself some grace as well as your students some grace, when I do that, those days typically tend to be better. But I would just say, Brielle, I would venture to say that everybody is feeling that way just with the beginning of the school year. Like, things will simmer down. We easily forget how hectic the beginning of the school year can be until we are thrown back into the beginning of the school year. And then there was one more I answered. I'm just trying to find the person's name so I can give the person credit. It is from Megan, and she wanted to know what is your exit routine for ending class? cleanup, etc.? Do you have kids stand behind desks, line up, etc.? This, for new teachers, if you're out there, sounds like such a minor thing, like getting ready to leave and how do you want them to come in. But for me, it's one of the most important things. My procedure is this. In years past, I used to play the same song that I played in the morning for them to unpack. I would play that at the end of the day and they had to pack up to that. I haven't done that in a couple years. I'm not sure why, but I might go back to that this year. But so far, I will just announce, you know, we're getting ready to pack up. I try and set aside at least 10 minutes for them to pack up because you'd be surprised how long it takes to get those backpacks packed up and get their things together. And I remind them that nothing should be left on their desks, nothing should be left in their chairs, nothing should be left on the floor, no jackets, no nothing. I have two students whose jobs are to check the lunch tub to make sure everybody has their lunch bag. And once they're packed up, they need to sit down. If we have time and I can remember, I collect the pencils from the day. They get table points for their pencils and I have pencils now to sharpen for the next day. And then while they're packing up, I am actively watching them pack up. I'm not doing anything else really while they're packing up. I'm watching them pack up. If I see that someone's leaving something out, I'll let them know, so-and-so you need to pack that up, so-and-so you can't leave anything on your desk. And then when everyone's packed up in my class, the symbol to show that you're ready is they put their elbows on the table like this. And we use this a lot. Like when the phone rings in my class, elbows on the table. When the speaker comes on and the principal's making an announcement, elbows on the table. It just ensures that they don't have anything in their hand, that they're paying attention. So they get all packed up, they sit down, put their elbows on the table. Sometimes I let them know the table group that's ready first will get 3 table points and do things like that. And then once everyone's packed up, the student who keeps track of table points will tell me which team had the most table points for the day. That team gets a starburst, which is a big deal in my class right now, and they get to line up outside first. After that team lines up, then I have the teams that had the second most points, the third most points, and so on line up after them. But the rule is, the rule is they are not dismissed, or let me back up. The rule is they are not allowed to line up until everyone is seated. And someone else mentioned that in her comment, like, my class knows that they have to be seated to be allowed to line up, that they are not allowed to just pop up and leave when the bell rings or just do anything when the bell rings. I always tell them the bell does not dismiss you, I do. And I always feel so old-fashioned when I say that, because I'm sure I had teachers that said that, and now I get why they do it. Because if you just let them get up when the bell rings, it's just like a madhouse. I don't even let them. One of my biggest pet peeves right now, and I'm training my class not to do this, they think that anytime I have them pack up, it's like immediately time for them to go, which is not true. Because sometimes I will have them pack up a good 30 minutes early, just depending on what we're doing. I might just want to get that out of the way, and they'll put their backpacks on and just be walking around with their backpacks on. So I don't let them do that, but they have to be seated for their table group to be allowed to line up. And then when the bell rings, I do walk them to the pickup area and, you know, say goodbye, tell them to have a good day. And that's pretty much it. So that is my exit procedures. Now, I know I'm gonna be posting a question on TeachersConnect in just a matter of moments. It may be tonight, I may do it tomorrow. But my question to you guys is, if you could change one physical feature of your classroom, what would it be? And the reason I'm asking that question is because at my old school, I had 2 whiteboards in my class. I had one at the front of the room and one at the back of the room. And I did not realize how valuable that back whiteboard was until I didn't have it. So I have been making anchor charts and I want them to be out in display. And I am finding the hardest, I'm having the hardest time figuring out how to keep them displayed yet use the whiteboard at the same time. So right now they get clipped on the whiteboard, but then when I need to use the whiteboard, I have to move it. So if I could change one physical feature of my classroom, it would be the addition of the whiteboard at the back of the room. So for TeachersConnect, at least go on today, respond, so for TeachersConnect, if you're a member, go on and answer that question for me. If you were to change one physical feature of your classroom, what would it be? If you're not a member of TeachersConnect, become a member for free so that you can answer that question for me. It would just be fun to see what would be the things some of us would change. But that is it. All in all, I feel much better this week. The last few days have been promising. We are getting there. My kids are getting me. I am getting them. I feel like we did some heavy duty lifting and learning this week, and that makes me feel good. So that's great. I came home tonight. I have minimal work to do over the weekend, so that's progress, but I'm just happy to start feeling a little bit better. I'm nowhere near where I want to be, but I'm getting there. So my battery's about to die. I'm gonna say good night, goodbye. Thank you for watching. Give this video a thumbs up if you haven't. Make sure you subscribe if you have not done that. Make sure you sign up for TeachersConnect because that is free and that's another way for us to interact. And make sure you hit the notification bell so that you know when I've uploaded a new video. But you can pretty much bet that I'm gonna upload a video on Sundays at 8 a.m. West Coast time. But that's it. Until Monday, I will see you guys later. I hope you enjoyed the vlog and I hope that you have had or are having an amazing weekend. Talk to you guys Monday.